Okay, so I'll start off, I guess. The arcade came. Well, the first one we did was a while back. There was an event. I don't know if anybody saw it. Light Nelson, the Light Nelson event, which was started in about 2013, and it was basically an art project, and attracted a lot of people. And Chris and I were trying to work out and some new ideas for this event, some new art projects, and we were sort of veering towards some interactive game type of project. And we both got an interest in old computer games and arcade machines. We've got pinball machines and a whole array of things from our childhood. And so we started thinking about ideas for projects, and the idea of like just something based on old computer games came about. We started playing around, and yeah,
more and more games came, ideas came together, and we thought we probably actually got an event here on its own right.
Yeah, so yeah, we had enough ideas to actually put something together. So Light Nelson sort of started by just inviting a whole lot of people together and saying, can we make something? So this is sort of the next step for this as well. Just looking at my notes here. Yeah, so Chris is talking about old computers. Chris is sort of more Commodore.
I was a Commodore kid. You were a Sinclair kid, weren't you?
Yeah, so he was rich, you see. Well, probably born a few years later.
Yeah.
And so this is I think the first one is in my lounge. Just grabbed a few people who thought might be interested in helping us to put it together. So the idea here was a number of things, really. The first, my background is physics, and so to try and having to go down a path that was either science or art and couldn't really be both was rather frustrating. So I've always tried to mix things up a little bit. So this is sort of one of the reasons we wanted to do it. We also wanted to teach, use it as a teaching opportunity, and for all kinds of reasons. The history, the how things work. We'd just love to know how things work. And when we were young, you could know how everything worked, pretty much. And you can't really pull an iPad together and in the same way. And learn. We're all, everything we do is about learning as well. So we're learning from each other, and it's very much a collaborative environment. Which is what the next thing was. And yeah, especially for children, this idea of empowerment and understanding, actually having this knowledge. You're not just a consumer anymore. You can actually make your own stuff. You're not reliant on other people as much. So it's this idea of being able to create things and understanding how things work, so that you could make your own things. And this
and a lot of the stuff we were building was from bits we picked up from the recycle centre in Nelson. We're quite often meet up down there on Saturday morning, don't we? We turn up down there looking and catch up. So a lot of the games we built were we'd find something down there and think, how can we repurpose that, or what can we do with that?
How can we save it? Stop it getting in the hole in the ground. And it was one of the things we wanted to get across with kids as well. That all this old stuff is still fun. It's and that you can fix things, you can make them into, I've got a whole collection of telephones and what have you, which would be a project. So this idea of being creators and not consumers was a big part of it. Yeah, and Chris is a lot better at me at actually making stuff that works, and I tend to normally bite off more than I can chew, but part of that is the design process. That Not with Light Nelson, the project, the event became so big that we lost that ability to experiment and just try things out as much. So this is really to create an environment that was experimental and that we could actually show all the warts and the things that didn't work and the problems that we had. Yeah,
Have fun.
and it was just I mean, I think we both became so enthusiastic about this project because we were it was also fun, as well as all these important things that we're trying to pull together. Yeah, we just wanted to have fun as well. So the first arcade, this is a space. This is the refinery. It's actually closed at the moment for earthquake strengthening, and has been for a while, which is a real shame because it was a great space. And quite a big space. There was another room as well that we got to use. So one of the worries was, could we have enough projects to put in it, really?
To rummage through the storage shed and pull a few things together, didn't we, to fill some of the spaces?
Yeah. And this is Chris going through. There's a pinball machine in the background, and yeah, we have got quite a, between the two of us, quite a collection of all sorts of stuff, really. This is my kitchen table or dining table, which before I had this space, which is quite a big space to work on stuff. But unfortunately, I used to bring a lot of my work home. My wife was very tolerant. Well, yeah, to a point.
This was I built a Tetris game out of a LED, addressable LED matrix. This was the first step, making the backboard for it. And that was it, all wired up, ready to go for the event. That was the arcade area, wasn't it, set up out the front? Yes, this is like a separate room next to the one that I showed you at the beginning. We're really lucky. There was I can't remember how we got in touch with it. I think it was online. There was a guy who had a whole collection of pinball machines. So Chris and I put one of ours each in there, and he brought in two really old ones, which was great. So we have these 4 pinball machines, and Chris's couple of arcades. Yeah.
There we go. People created artworks for it. This is a friend of mine who did several artworks based on different styles, which are just really quite humorous. I mean, yeah, everybody volunteered, so it was never going to be. The idea wasn't to earn money from it. The idea was just to make it happen.
Wanted it in general free entry, didn't we? But we had a ticketed event the first night, which we charged for, which basically funded the space for the duration of the exhibition. And we had a band, Neon, a lot of sort of retro synth music. Came and played on the first night. It was really good. Yeah, they played at Light Nelson and did this wonderful. You might be able to find it online, but yeah, robot projection. Robot was really cool. Yeah. It's very craft work with all synthesizers and things. So that they played, yeah, which is charged $10 a night, $10 that night for the opening, and they had more than enough people to cover the cost of the venue. This is the opening. So we had a whole load of stuff there. You can see ZX81 Spectrums, and we just had them out. Commodore 64. Commodore 64, yeah, they've done nothing about it. And with a load of different games each day. You know, it was really funny watching the kids, you know, watching it load from tape. You know, unbelieving that, you know, we used to have to do this for every game. All computer books, and it was just this wonderful environment. You know, we've got like parents bringing their children along, and the parents are remembering all this stuff and trying to write and remember how to write in BASIC and showing their kids. So it was yeah, really nice. And something for everybody. Yeah, so the first week was really just trying to pull it all together, especially my stuff. We're still trying to make it work. Chris, the second week we invited all the schools to bring classes around, and
So half of the events, so it's 2 weeks, was in school holidays, and half of it was in term time, basically. And this is a friend Colin, who'd written a game many years ago, sort of like a Galaxian type of, a 2D shooter.
Scrolling shoot 'em up space game. Yeah,
it was very cool. And he was going to sell it, and then the company, I think, folded that he was selling it to, and the only people that had played it were his flatmates, and it was this wonderful, really cool arcade game. So I came and did talks on it, and told the kids how a lot of the techniques of writing that kind of 2D shooter game.
Just got it running again tonight in DOSBox.
Yes, I found it on my computer, and it's still there. I might show you later. This is some of the games I had. You can see the bicycle there. Hopefully, that was a bicycle simulator, and in the box next to the bicycle was a
rolling road, wasn't it?
A rolling road, yeah. So it had a camera on a Raspberry Pi that was looking down the road, and
projecting what the camera saw up onto the screen in front of the bike, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it used the whole an old printer head. Like I had an A3 printer, so that provided the movement for the camera. So a lot of wacky things like that. This is a friend of ours wrote with a friend that wrote this text adventure game that was based on locations in Nelson. So there's this trying to bring that whole adventure game to the kids. New kids, basically, but it was really interesting because it was like second nature to us how to
go north, go west.
Go north, yes. But yeah, there was
some of the kids scratching their heads a bit when they saw it.
Yeah. This this is two controllers. This is a game I wrote. And it's on the wall there. So the laser, I'm pointed to it, which doesn't make any sense. So it's called Laser Lander. So the idea is it was based on the old Lunar Lander game, but really simple. And you had to land the little spaceship there. But one person had the thrust and the other person had the rotation. So there was this idea of collaboration, working together to land it. And some other shots of the computers.
Consoles, I think, wasn't it? So 2600 and a Sega and the Vectrex there, I think.
Yeah, the Vectrex on the right. So, Chris's Tetris there. The wonderful thing about this was there's never been a score.
It's never had a score on it, no.
Yeah, people just love playing it. And it's really just eye-catching. So in itself, it was like, well, it's an art project. This is something I did. I've got a version 2 of that I did for the second arcade. The idea was just to create something that was generic, that people would just come across and start interacting with it. So the things on the side are just simple $2 distance sensors, but everybody thought they were buttons. So every day they would push them in and destroy them. And
it was a Simon game?
So this particular one, the first one was a Simon game. Yeah, that's right. Forgotten.
It involved 4 people collaborating to play it.
That's right. Yeah. You'll have to take a slide. Oh, this is the bike. So you can see the printer head in the box there, open. And the bike was a glow-in-the-dark Rally 20. The Vectrex. It's funny. We let everybody just play everything. Then they were just there.
We had a couple of casualties and Spectrums died along the way.
Yeah, I lost a ZX81 as well, just through old age, really. But it's now, you've got to. Do you do this anymore? Can you really have people playing something that's old and now increasingly valuable? So that's a bit of a problem we have, and I think we will be running more emulators in the future. I love this picture just because you can't really see what they're doing, but they're actually playing Pac-Man. It was amazing just how these old games, they just really seem to they haven't lost their appeal. And for kids, it's like really, you don't need $1 million 3D virtual reality game. The idea was to say, well, you can make your own game, same as we used to do when we were kids. So, but adults enjoyed playing them as well. This is a little. We tried to create a little sort of retro area, lounge area. So this for the first arcade, we had Pong going, and it was a lovely little unit that I got. It was looked like new. It doesn't fortunately look like new now, but that's the price you pay. And this is the article that was in a local paper, which really focused on the retro side of it, about the stuff we'd created. And what we were really trying to say, computer games are essentially interactive art. And this is some of the feedback we got from it, which was fantastic. Loads and loads of happy kids and lots of happy adults as well. And it's funny to say, even from the first arcade, I get people coming up and saying, that was, I remember the first one when they're coming playing games.
And a couple of years later, we decided we were going to do it all again.
Yeah, funnily enough, the gallery didn't want us back there. Still not quite sure why, but and so we had to find another space. And NMIT at the time had the management there were really quite good, and don't know whether we'll be able to do it now, but basically gave us a space, a lot of space for free for 2 weeks. Yeah. To do with what we want. And so this is when we were first setting up. It takes a long time setting up, especially when you've switched on some of the machines. So Chris is testing everything out. Yeah, the retro furniture. And this is a project I created, Synesthesia, which I'll show you a bit more in the future. So I collected lamps for ages. I have so many of these things now. This is building it up. So we created this middle table, which is the one we're on now. So it's in my office at the moment. But
like a little maker space, wasn't it, for the 2 weeks?
Yeah. So after the first one, it was such a key part of it was that idea of creating things, of showing how things were created, rather than just putting things on a wall. What goes into a project. So we actually made, for the second one, we made it quite a feature, put this table in the middle and had workshops, and we were working on stuff pretty much from the beginning, really. We had credited a few new projects for this one. There's like an automatic puppet show thing, and this whiteboard was for suggestions, so people could write down ideas, how to improve stuff, or ideas for new games and what have you. We upgraded the Pong to an Atari for the arcade too. Oh yeah, tell them about your radio as well. Which is...
Oh yeah, I had a sort of retro radio, not the one in the shop there, but it's just an old radio. Stripped the guts out of it, a little module, just playing MP3s of Commodore 64, SID music, and some Amiga music that, my memories of growing up. I just had that playing in the background in one of the rooms. That was quite cool.
Yeah, it was, and it reminds me. I mean, one of the key things with this was, if you're limited to 8 bits and you get quite, you've got to be creative when you've got low processing power and what have you. You've got to be really you've got to think about things a lot more. You can't just throw a whole operating system or more memory and more processing power. You've got to be creative. These are just more shots.
Yeah, hockey with a leap motion, wasn't it, needed?
Yeah, so this is a big screen I got in an auction and made it into a virtual air hockey. So it used, I don't know if you've seen them, the leap motion that tracks your hands. So it's always been a little bit clunky, but it was quite a basic game. It had that nice, nice fun element, and it was good to be able to show them what it was actually doing in terms of tracking your hands. and you've got all that maths of reflections and the things bouncing off each other, which is I had to remember my maths. Yeah. And just some more shots of some people. This is an interesting one. This is actually a project from Mike Nelson that was that we asked. It was one of the colleges did it, and it was this wonderful plug things in to different places, press buttons, and different things happened, and you were never quite
the
sure.
elements of an analog synth and the sequencer down the end there, and the percussion instruments in the middle, and yeah, a lot of switches and knobs around the outside of it. Yeah, kids enjoyed playing with that, didn't they? Yeah, it was a bundle of wires. It was an amazing thing. And this is the synesthesia again with the keyboard. So it basically took the MIDI output and fed that into some Arduinos, and it would light the lamps based on the keys that they were playing, basically. It was quite nice. This is a project, I don't know if you've seen this one. It's the open, is it Sandbox? I'll have to put a link on about this, but it's an open source project, and all the instructions are online, and you create this sandbox that using a 3D camera then maps the gradients. The Xbox Connect sensor, isn't it?
Yeah,
Xbox Connect. Yeah.
And people did all kinds of things, and rather than just islands and everything, people created artwork. So that was that's the air hockey again. People having fun. Yeah, of course things get worn out and broken, and it was very much part of it.
It's the retro computer room.
Yeah,
we've got the BBC Model B, Commodore 64. I think it was a Spectrum.
Merlin. You know what that thing is on the left there? Because I don't think I own that. Is that one of yours?
No, it's not mine.
Probably got stolen. Yeah.
And there was a what was it? Next Cube down the end.
Yeah, you can't see that. And there's somebody
right at the very end. There's a Next Cube we got given.
Yeah, Cortron instrument. Yeah, Cortron.
We haven't got any of the peripherals for it, so it's just a box at the moment.
Yes, and somebody's still in the office here because there's somebody on this group wants to photograph it. maybe on this. Oh yeah, Commodore 64. Hockey. Oh, that was I love this because it just appealed to all ages. It really did. We had such a range of people coming in. It was nice. And this is a little robotics class that a friend of mine did, and that was the end. So an empty room again, packed up. And the fun thing was that although this was sort of separating from Mike Nelson a little bit and doing something a bit more experimental, then we actually fed in some of the projects that we thought were quite good back into Mike Nelson. So synesthesia, I rebuilt, got a lot of people to do artworks on the lamps. A lovely friend of ours, Betty, artist, did some of them, and yeah, this ended up. Let's see if this will play. This is what it looked like. You can't see the keyboard because it was too dark. It's quite cool. It took ages to set it up.
And I rebuilt Tetris to be, that was 2.4 meters tall and 1.2 meters wide, and we set it across the other side of the lake, so the controller's on one side of the lake and the game board was on the other, and just it looked quite cool with the reflections across the water. And, yeah, it's quite cool just sort of standing around watching people recognize what it actually was and go and have a play with it, find the controller, go and have a play with it.
It was, yeah, and it really was that sort of art element to it, that it just looked stunning. And I think that's the end. That's the last slide. So I'll stop sharing screen. I know it's probably getting a little bit late now. So yeah, anything else we wanted to? Yeah, we've got some links and things we can put on, but we'll leave it there for the time being. So the idea of showing you this stuff was really well, to see if we all collect stuff. It was actually a really nice use of all the things that we had. To get them out there and actually to use them in a positive way. I thought was really quite good. So and we'll probably do well. I'm hoping we'll do an arcade 3 this year.
We had plans to do one a couple of years ago, but things didn't work out with the museum. We were planning on going, and then of course COVID and all that entailed.
The usual thing. Yeah. Well, for the 3, I wanted to start with nothing in the room that would build up from absolutely nothing, and yeah, just maybe a telephone in the middle of the room or something, and build the whole project up that way. So yeah, any questions? And of course, if there's any donations of interesting stuff, we'll always be grateful to receive. And I've had some really some great bits and pieces. I've got like my 16K for my ZX81 from somebody on this group for a very low price and things like that, which has been really nice. So yeah. But yeah, any questions or?